Easy people, nice things here. I think I want to talk about step sequencer on the Force because it has a lot of advantages, which I think are they're amazing. They really are. They're amazing when you think about it. It's similar to the push, but it's got an advantage which the push doesn't have, in that you have this TUI so you can see what you're doing. What I'm going to do is give you a few ideas of how I would use it, or how I've been able to use it to get into fills and that, and especially on 3.5, because there is advantages on 3.5 now where you can have things in context. So let me explain. So I've got a tune here that it's actually out, made it on the Force. So if you go onto Spotify, I'll put a link anyway, and it's called Easy As I Am. So here's the rough elements of this tune here. Let me go launch, and I'm gonna do a little quick recording of it, and then I'm gonna just kind of break down bits from it. So let's start with piano. Let's look at that in context so we can see what's going on here. Maybe a beat. Should have a nice fill there, maybe. I'll build it up. Little fill there, maybe. All right, so that's a whatever made up arrangement. So now I've got all the elements to this, and let's say I wanted to create a fill here. An easy way of doing something like F at like bar 8. So going into bar 9, I want to have it kind of, I don't know, have some kind of drum fill, because otherwise it would just be a lame loop. So what I can do is I can come here and create a loop section, which I am going to do there between 7 leading to 8, and then 8 leading into 9 and leading into 10. So it's a little loop here. So the idea would be, and go back to sequence. So I'll have it come in and then do crash into there, right? So what I can do now is I can go, great, let me look at where the drums are. So the drums are here, and I'll go to step sequence, and I'm going to go, and then I want to crash or some sound. Let's get something else. So look for a crash content. Well, I don't even have to. I just type crash. And pause my call for samples. Yeah, one of these will be right. That'll do. Yeah. Oh, right. It's time stretch. So, oh. Yeah, that's nicer. Right. So now I can use the step sequencer to add in the whatever I want. So I'm playing this, and we can see the step sequencers moving. And the reason why that's doing that is because if I go to step sequencer on here, I can go into the settings, and I can see that I've got it to auto scroll. So it's going to auto scroll between bar 8. Well, it's between bar, I want it to be bar 7 actually. So I'll have it, so that's going to go bar 7, and it's going to continue on 8, 9, and then it's going to loop back round. So I can go, great. Now there's a couple of ways I could do it. I could do it on here, because this is a TUI step sequencer, but I don't need to. I can actually just do it using this. So my idea would be I'll have it on bar A, so I want to go there, so I'll add them in there. And what I could do is, if I'm unsure what I'm going to do, I'm going to take off auto scroll so that I'm locked in this place, and I can just look at this and say, is this right? Yeah, so I could have maybe. Let's go. So we'll have that. I'll go. So I'll go as well. Okay, that was lame. That we'll have it there. So that one. And then I can stroke that up. And I could do the same with them. I can make those rise here, or I could do it by a preset, but there's no point. And this is how you can come up with something really, really fast using a step sequencer, where I would have to have gone like this and get the timing right or not. I don't have to. And all of the other stuff is still available. So if I press there, I've still got all of the swing and stuff, so I could change how that is. I've just left this on the actual flats thing, but I could make it swing, and it'd be an individual swing. The other thing as well, that maybe a few folks are aware of, is you no longer have to switch off when you're recording anything into the arranger. You don't have to switch anything off, because it keeps what you had as quantization in place, so you're never having to worry about it re-quantizing anything again. So from now on, you don't have to go and switch that off, so keep that in mind. Anyway, back to, like I was saying, that's one element of this. So I said I was going to do a crash there. So again, I know where I'm going to have that crash. I can look at the BBT. So I want it to come in on 9. So I can go back to here, and there's a couple of ways I could do it. I can either hold this and then go across from there, because these are where I am. So if I go like that, that's going to go to the next stage, which would be 9 in that place. Or if that seems a bit confusing, and it could be, I can go to the step sequencer and I can say I want to go to step 9. So now I'm looking at step 9. At the moment, like I say, this is a beta, so there's a few things were slightly different here. So I want to turn that on because I want it to move across. I want this to match this. So the auto scroll will make it move across, but it doesn't move across automatically with the bar situation here. So I'll move this across. I'll have it play. And then I can see where it is. It's 9. So there. So now I'm locked in there. And I can turn that off, and I'm on bar 9. And then what I can have is, I can have my crash, and I put that crash there, and we can see that's on 9 at the start of the bar. So now what we have is roll. And that's how you can come up with like quick fills and rolls and whatever. You could even actually create your own rolls anyway, in the clips, and then just add them in at that point. But the reason why I was showing that is obviously you can do more than drums. You can have like effects or certain things, but you can get them specifically at the time when you want them. So that's one thing. The other thing, which I think is an amazing aspect, let's just we'll stop all of that for now, and I'm just going to go to the drums. I'm going to go to this drum kit. So I've got a clip now playing. I've got this clip here playing. Now, a lot of people before were like, well, how do I do certain things on the step sequencer? For example, say I've got this here and I'm like, great, I like all of that, but there was something I wanted to change. And before, what people would assume is that, what if I wanted to make a note longer or something like that? I'd have to change it all on here and so on and so forth. But no, you don't. The only thing you need to do is just go to clip. Everything is now seeable in clip. You can zoom in to areas or whatever via clip. So the same thing again. So for example, let's say I haven't got any, have I got anything along here? Right, you see this sound here? I'm going to take this sound by pressing edit pad. I'm going to change that sound to a note on, so that it's now, so it's only going to play as long as I press it. This would be a prime example of where step sequencer can come into its own. So let me get back to the top of the step sequencer. I'll go into clip mode, and then I've got my bass thing here. Now, let's say I've got my tune and I'm playing me, oh good lord, yeah, I'm playing me my little beat, and we'll make this smaller so that I can kind of make life easier sort of. So I'll do it again. So I've got 2-bar loop here, but I want to add this in, and just in case anybody isn't aware of this, but I think you all are, I'm trying to do these videos based on not beginners now. I'm going to just assume people know anything. If you want beginners tutorials or beginner type things, I will do them. You just have to drop it in the comments and say, oh, that's great, could you show really early stuff? But I'm just making a load of assumptions, so I don't know if I'm going fast or not. But anyway, just a quick overview of the step sequencer. So you've got all your pad information is here. The main ones, again, this is how I would use it. The main one is drum. The second one is interesting in that it's melodies. I don't know. I'm not really that bothered about that, because I think there's better ways of attacking that, especially with melodies. But that's one. I think the drum one is the main one, and you don't only have to use it for drums. The second one, what I would say is I would probably say the mono step. So probably the mono step or the melodic are good. Do you know what? I'm going to have a look at that, because I'm making an assumption here. So I'm going to just stick with drum for now, but you have mono step and melodics. I say they relatively do the same thing. The advantage of this is when you're using this or this, you've got velocity. That's what the orange one is. And you can set the velocity. You can have it fixed by using any of these colors. The blue one is, as it says, as played. So you can have something coming in quiet or louder. So with that said, let's get back to this. At the moment, these are in 16ths. So if I was to add this like bass line, and say I'd make it bounce. So I was going like something like. So now, how do you make the notes longer or shorter? And it's really easy. You just press that and then select the notes that you want to make longer or shorter. And why is this an advantage of a push, in my opinion, is that I can nudge this, move it, I can keep it on there, I can do it I've got a load of advantages. I can extend this note, so I can make this longer. So this one note I'm going to make longer. What would I want to do, or shorter, if I wanted to make it shorter, higher or lower, depending on what it was. If this was melodic, I could do it higher or lower, because I have all of the advantages of here. And also I can automate as well, because I could set automation and it's just for that one step there, that one direct step there. What if I wanted to do more than one though? Well, then I press select and I press shift. So now what I can do is I can deselect that, and I could say, well, I want this step and this step here, and I want, maybe I want that, them 3 steps. So now I can let go of that. And again, I can extend those. Like I say, there's so much more advantage to the step and using step in that way. So if you were using an arranger and you were in the arrangement, you could actually use those elements on top of what I just showed you there. A little step further as well, not necessarily in this part because I'm going to probably do something separate with that. But what I can do is now I could actually just go, and if I keep my finger on shift, I could go and find those notes. Let me scroll carefully. I could find those notes, and then I could say to myself, right, well, I want to change the tuning of those up 3 steps. So now obviously all of this I could do in real time when it was playing. It's because I'm explaining this to you. But that's a major advantage of the step sequence. You can add in your steps here, and then you can use grid to change the steps in any way you want. So I don't know, is there any effect? There isn't an effect, but imagine if I had some kind of effect inserted on this drum track, and I had it on a particular pad, then I could just go in there and add it. So I mean, even in fact, what am I on about? I could actually just go and add probabilities, and it'll add probabilities to those steps. So go back to there. Let me see, is they still selected? Yes, they're still selected. So the easiest way, I could either hold shift and do it down that way, but I would say the easiest way of doing it from there is again holding shift, and then I'd scroll down, and then I could just change the probability by that. So now I've changed the probability of those to less than, so 60% of the time, 55% of the time, so nearly half of the time they'll play, almost. So yeah, so that hopefully hasn't been too long, and kind of a quick example of step sequence and why you would use it. You have the hardware one, and in conjunction with this, where you can go into the elements. What I also should add on, why I think this is brilliant now, is it will tell you what it's doing by what. And what I mean by that is, if I was to go here and I was to say, I don't know, add something, maximizer, right? I could go to the maximizer and say I go to the knee, and then I added something for the knee, and it's going to add it for that step in this part, bar 2, right? If I move it, it's telling you what it is. So it's not by 1 to 7 values, it's actually by the value of the element that you're using. This is brilliant, and the reason why it's so brilliant being able to do this with a step sequencer now is, say you've got something and you want it in a particular key, you can set that. So good example, because my specialization now with the Forces for live use, for live performance, and what I've tended to do is I'll put on a vocal tuner, and then I can set the vocal tuner for different keys for different songs, and that means I can have it help me in ways. If I need it to back up or to do an effect, I can have that effect, and I can change on keys, and I know what the key is because I can actually see it, because it'll tell me what it is, or the scale is an example. So that's a quick, not brief overview, but an example of why I think the step sequence is advantageous now, and how you can use it. Don't forget to like if you like this, and I'll try and do more. And the other thing, what I was going to say, check out my tune. That's the Akai Force. Well, it's about 95% the Akai Force. So I mastered it in Cubase because, you know what I mean, life's too short. And some of the vocals I've messed with them. But yeah, the key elements are the Force. And in fact, anything you hear me going forward with, and if you want to check out the other tunes, they're the Force stuff going forward. All right then, until the next one, hope you're all doing well. And as always, peace.